Tonight, an apparent open water police chase turns fatal.
And one of the officers said there's been shots fired.
A Turkey Point marina turned into a crime scene. Plus, financing family doctors.
There hasn't been an investment at this level in primary care, at least in a generation.
The provincial government's multi-million-dollar plan. And preemptive cancellations. Air Canada grounding flights ahead of time in anticipation of a strike. However, the impact in London expected to be minimal.
CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with an SIU investigation after a fatal police shooting. According to the province's police watchdog, one man was killed when officers opened fire at the marina in Turkey Point. With more from the scene, here's Jerry Dewan.
The SIU and OPP were both on scene near the dead end of Clubhouse Road in Turkey Point. A personal watercraft sat covered in OPP tape in the nearby marina. Darcy Lemon works at a jet ski rental outlet where the marina channels enter Lake Erie. He spotted the watercraft going high speeds as it entered the channels around 1 Tuesday afternoon.
He was going at least like 120 kilometers an hour. That's like top speed on those brand new jet skis.
Following close behind were police and the Coast Guard.
We saw him come flying through, and maybe 30 seconds later, like 4 police boats and a Coast Guard boat come chasing in after him.
Our office received a call just after 1 p.m. yesterday afternoon of an individual coming in fast into our waterway.
Brad Thompson is general manager of McDonald Turkey Point Marina. Staff called him after seeing the man abandon the jet ski and run into the wooded area.
We checked all the boats. We didn't know the severity of the situation, and then we seen the K9 folks roll in.
Thompson says staff occasionally have to deal with boaters who enter the marina at unsafe speeds, but he says a review of surveillance video made it clear that this was something very different. A short time after the man left the marina property, Thompson heard the sound of gunfire.
And one of the officers said there's been shots fired, so we evacuated the area, locked our staff down, and then the police had me lock C-row down so nobody could get in or out.
At this point, the SIU is only saying that the watercraft caught police attention on the lake, but haven't said why. They say there was an interaction in the wooded area, and the 22-year-old male was hit simultaneously by a round from an Enfield anti-riot weapon and a firearm. He was pronounced deceased at the scene. Lemon says it's hard to understand how it all unfolded.
We get down here with like complaints and like cops will show up, but never nothing like that. Like that's something you'd see like down in like Mexico or down in the States.
The SIU has assigned 4 investigators to the case. In Turkey Point, Jerry Dewan, CTV News.
London police say they're investigating a reported gunshot late last night in the Old East Village. According to police, officers responded to Dundas and English streets around 10 p.m. where they found evidence of gunfire. However, they have not said what that evidence is. They say the major crime unit is now investigating, and they're asking anyone who was in the area around that time last night to contact them. Officials with Air Canada say they will start canceling flights tomorrow, preparing for a shutdown. It'll be a phased process ahead of a potential flight attendant strike, which could start Saturday. With the latest on the negotiations, here's Judy Trin.
Air Canada has started canceling flights to lock out its flight attendants, even before they walk off the job, leaving some in a desperate lurch. Marianne Barrow's weekend flight to LA was canceled. She may not get to her family reunion.
It's been 3 hours. I'm on hold, like waiting. So I told my husband, drop me off at the airport. Maybe someone can help me from an Air Canada customer service. And they said they can't.
To explain why the airline is taking measures ahead of Saturday's strike deadline, Air Canada President Michael Rousseau says the airline regrets the impact of the disruption. He blames the disappointing conduct of CUPE's negotiators and says the risk of a strike can create chaos for travelers. The union, representing 10,000 flight attendants, said that Air Canada's offer doesn't keep pace with inflation.
The company came to us with a very minimal wage proposal. So they put 8% on the table in the first year, and that still would not pull our members out of the poverty level at the beginning.
Air Canada did offer a 38% increase in pay over 4 years, improved pension, ground pay, and crew rest, and an offer for binding arbitration. The airline will lose hundreds of millions of dollars if a strike can't be averted.
So they've struggled a bit with profitability the last quarter. So this is going to be something that will really hit the bottom line.
130,000 passengers could be impacted daily. For now, many remain on the side of the workers.
We think that they should get paid for what they're doing. If they're not getting paid for those hours boarding and deplaning, they should be paid for that.
For now, the federal government is staying on the sidelines, but offering mediators to help with negotiations. Federal Labor Minister Patty Hajdu says the best agreements are the ones the parties reach themselves. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
Here in London, officials at YXU are urging travelers to keep an eye out for updates from Air Canada. However, they don't expect a strike to have a major impact locally. With more, here's Lauren Stallone.
Officials at London International Airport say they're not concerned about potential impacts as Air Canada prepares to gradually suspend flights ahead of a possible work stoppage on Saturday.
The London International Airport is served by Air Canada Jazz, which is a regional carrier, so they do not have the same labor agreements that the Air Canada mainline has.
Airport officials say if passengers are trying to connect to a city on a main Air Canada network, their travel plans may be disrupted.
Mainline is typically into the bigger international hubs where the regional aircraft connect. So certainly in the case of Jazz, they intend to operate the schedule as planned out of London. But that being said, if there is strike action, then the connections out of Toronto, for example, could be impacted.
Officials are urging travelers to monitor Air Canada updates closely.
The Canadian Airports Council, which represents all the airports in the country, is following it closely and keeping all airports up to date on the plans.
If the strike proceeds, work stoppage would officially take effect Saturday around 1 a.m. Lauren Stallone, CTV News.
Good evening. Our heat warning has ended and a break from the heat and humidity. Temperatures this afternoon in the upper 20s. Definitely feeling a nice change. We've had a cold front come through that brought some rainfall and thunderstorms to the area overnight. It is now dropping south of the lower Great Lakes and high pressure building in. Skies will be clear overnight and watch for some patchy fog. Now, there's been a few pop-up showers around the area late this afternoon. The probability as we move through the early evening, about a 30% chance. Cool and comfortable overnight. Coming up, I'll take you through the forecast. High pressure building in for your Thursday. Lots of sunshine on the way. And once again, we're going to heat up as we edge close to the weekend. I'll have that forecast in just a few minutes.
Thanks, Julie. And this extreme heat this summer has been hard on vehicles. According to CAA, the insurance provider is reporting a 15% increase in service calls related to overheating vehicles. With more, here's Katie Griffin.
The extreme heat taking a toll on vehicles.
Most people don't realize in the hot weather is your battery's at risk. It's sitting underneath the hood. The temperature underneath your hood is increasing, so it actually cooks the battery.
CAA reporting a 15% increase in calls for service over this time last year.
Just general driving breakdown on the road, as well as like radiators and just heat related, everything starts to break. It puts a stress on your vehicle.
CAA says there are a number of reasons behind the spike in calls for service, including this extreme heat. More people are traveling within Canada and they're keeping older vehicles longer.
We've experienced a lot of vehicles overheating on the side of the road.
Ontario Provincial Police have been busy responding to vehicles that had broken down because of the heat, including one that caught fire on the 417. They say regular maintenance and checks are key.
One of the things you want to do is make sure that your fluids are all topped up in your vehicle, do the regular maintenance, have an emergency preparedness kit with you. You can purchase those in stores.
Katie Griffin, CTV News.
The provincial government has announced more than $5 million in new funding for healthcare initiatives in our region. It could mean better primary care access for thousands of patients. As Rita Ismail reports, local healthcare providers say it's all long overdue.
The Ontario government says it's investing $5.3 million to expand access to primary care in Elgin, Middlesex, London, aiming to connect thousands of residents with family doctors and nurse practitioners.
This is a tremendous investment, and I think it only proves public health care is alive and well under this government in this province for years and generations to come.
The funding announced today is part of the province's $2.1 billion primary care action plan. Healthcare providers in the region say the investment is long overdue and will play a key role in reducing wait times and improving access to care.
The need is critical. A shortage of family doctors and nurse practitioners has led to long delays in medical care for too many people. These are our family members, these are our friends, these are our neighbors.
Locally, the funding will help attach up to 12,600 residents to primary care providers. The initiative will be led by the Thames Valley Family Health Team.
It is a historic investment. There hasn't been an investment at this level in primary care, at least in a generation. But for Thames Valley Family Health Team, it would go back to 06, 07, 08 when the Family Health Team was first forming. Long overdue, but also we believe timely investment in the province, locally here in Middlesex, London, to address a primary care crisis that's been ongoing for a number of years.
The funding will serve neighborhoods with the greatest needs, including rural and Indigenous communities.
There's a lot of people in our communities here that need a family doctor. We're also very close to 3 Indigenous communities. And there are huge gaps in primary care in those communities.
It's going to impact our services. A lot of our people are still on a wait list right now. That's going to eliminate the wait list for our community and improve our services.
The province says today's funding announcement is part of a broader plan to connect up to 300,000 people across Ontario with primary care providers this year. Rita Ismail, CTV News.
A not guilty verdict today at the London courthouse on an intimidation charge against the man behind Creeper Hunter TV, someone who was previously convicted on extortion and child pornography charges. Nick Paparella has more on the judge's ruling.
After a 2-day trial, Justice James Strabopoulos wasted little time in handing down his decision and finding 44-year-old Jason Nasser not guilty of intimidating a justice system participant. The charge stems from his trial on harassment, extortion, and child pornography charges in January of 2023. He was eventually found guilty, but during a heated exchange with the Crown at that trial, Nasser blurted out that he knew the name of the prosecutor's child. The judge at this trial found, "I accept the Crown's testimony that he was immediately overcome with a gut-wrenching sense of fear when Mr. Nasser mentioned his youngest child by name during cross-examination. Any lawyer would act similarly." He went on to say, Mr. Nasser had a motive to mention the Crown's child to instill fear in him and dissuade him from continuing with the line of questioning. However, Justice Strabopoulos said one of the main reasons Nasser was acquitted was because he was cut off by the presiding judge after saying the child's name, and he wasn't able to complete his sentence. As a result, Mr. Nasser never finished saying what he planned to after mentioning the child. He continued, "It is impossible to know where Mr. Nasser was heading before being interrupted by the trial judge." During the trial 2.5 years ago, the Crown maintained that Nasser was operating Creeper Hunter TV for his own sexual gratification, while the accused said it was to educate the public and to catch predators. Nasser's dealings with the court aren't over yet because he is appealing his prior convictions. Nick Paparella, CTV News.
Halton police say one of their officers was injured early this morning responding to a break-and-enter in Milton. Police say officers were called to a Shoppers Drug Mart just before 3 a.m. According to police, one person was arrested at the scene. A second was arrested after trying to get away in a vehicle, while a third did manage to get away. Police say the officers' injuries are not life-threatening. City Hall received a flurry of complaints last winter about snow removal, but an internal review has put many of those concerns on ice. Last winter was London's second snowiest of the last 30 years. City staff have committed to improving communications, technology, and administering snow clearing contracts this winter. They did not recommend improving how quickly ice is removed from sidewalks, though, citing the mayor's tax target.
For us to say, oh yes, we're going to improve and here's how much it's going to cost, how are we going to measure that improvement in a way? What standard are we going to hold ourselves to? As you know, we tried this in the past when it came to sidewalk maintenance, and we saw the same or more levels of concern in the community.
A city councillor wants to expedite a crosswalk near a South London elementary school after a driver hit a pedestrian earlier this year.
It's extraordinarily dangerous. Motorists are not slowing down. Some of them even drive through with the crossing guard present.
I'll be supporting your efforts. My worry, though, and I have to put this out there, is I've got stuff I want to advance too.
A pedestrian crosswalk with flashing lights is scheduled for installation at Viscount and Steeplechase next year. A council committee recommended advancing the work to this fall, though. City staff said an upcoming safe mobility action plan will address dangerous driving in neighborhoods citywide.
There's more work to be done around the city, but in this case, on Viscount and Steeplechase, these enhancements are totally necessary and as soon as possible because the driving patterns seem to be getting worse.
The Railway City Music and Arts Festival gets underway tomorrow, running through the weekend at the Pinafore Park Bandshell. The festival began with a small footprint in 2022, but has grown to attract thousands. Organizers say there will be more than 80 food and arts vendors to go along with a range of musical genres over the next 4 days.
Absolutely, and there's still enough variation that I think everyone's going to come to see one particular genre, but the next band may be something that they haven't experienced before, and they may just discover something new that they really enjoy.
When we come back, it's the Tee Up with Brent Lail. We'll head to Western Mustangs training camp, preparing for another run at the Vanier Cup.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We begin tonight with Ontario's
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. CTVLondon.ca, your home for news.
Welcome back. It's time for the Tee Up with Brent Lail. And Brent, we start on the pitch in a fight to avoid relegation for FC London on the women's side.
Yeah, it was a tough year for the Reds, Carlyle, but they had a match against Hamilton to remain in the Premier Division next season. And you had the pleasure of calling play-by-play on a dramatic finish.
Not cleared just yet. And then a swiping shot. It's going in. Gabby Cahoot has found an equalizer.
And what a goal in the 96th minute to tie it. Then it would go to penalties, and there's Cahoot again, giving the club the lead. And then keeper Samantha St. Croix was just awesome.
She had an MVP performance for sure, stopping 3 penalties before that miss to keep a clean sheet from spot kicks.
Yeah, and FC London goes on to win it, and they stay in the Premier Division next season.
We've always had a tradition of being successful. This year was a bit of a transition year, and we knew that. We lost 3 players to Pro Avenues, and then some moved back to where their hometowns. So we knew it would be a transition year, but we were decimated with injuries, so it became a struggle all year. So for us to stay up there, it is where we should be. Oh, it was a roller coaster of emotions, right? Going into a match that have to win. And then getting down to the literally last kick of the regulation time. Captain Gabby does it for us, and it was exciting for everybody.
Staying on the pitch, a brilliant goal scored by a 9U soccer player this week.
Yeah, and a little setup to this, Carlyle. This is the final seconds of a tie game in Niagara Falls. St. Thomas 9U has a corner with just seconds left on the clock. I think it's play of the week worthy.
There it is.
Hey, there's Max Peters finishing off a volley. We'll play it again in slow-mo. Nice pass from Carter Mahovlich, and they win the match. The boys went undefeated in a festival this weekend, and it was capped off by, how about that great penalty right there by Will Chen Martin, bar down and in. Hey, congratulations to those young guys.
That takes skill. That is a nice shot. London's NBA star is coming home this week hosting a basketball camp.
Yeah, Shaden Sharp's youth basketball camp is taking place at Fanshawe on Saturday. The Trailblazer star is arriving in town tonight, and he'll do some charity work in the community before hosting that kids event on Saturday. And then to the gridiron, here's another star, Taylor Elgersma. He'll get some more playing time this weekend when the Packers face the Colts. Impressive in short duty during the opener. He threw for 3 of 4 through the air, 24 yards in the final drive against the Jets. I wish he would have got a little more playing time, but he remains in a battle for the backup job with Sean Clifford as they enter week 2 of preseason action.
And finally, Brent, it's day 5 of training camp for Western Mustangs football, working through some extreme heat and getting ready for next week's opener.
Yeah, with Labor Day coming on September the 1st, it means the season begins August 23rd. Practices are ramping up with just over a week to go until they face Queens.
Probably the healthiest I've been since I came here my first year, so feeling really good.
Back for his 5th and final year of eligibility, Evan Hillock's elbow is pain-free.
Yeah, it was a little bit of my throwing arm, but yeah, we figured it out, and now we're rolling. Last year, we were always concerned about, how much throwing he was taking in practice and limiting his reps, but seems good so far. Said it feels really good, so when he's throwing, he can whip it.
1, 2, 3, training camp is underway with coaches and staff doing their best to manage the heat while still getting ready for their opener August 23rd in Kingston.
Staying healthy, especially in this hot, humid weather that we have here in London. Make sure everyone's hydrated, and our training staff and our strength and conditioning staff and even our nutrition advisors are doing an amazing job of keeping us healthy and make sure that we're not have cramps and make sure everyone's ready to go for practice.
Stay out of the heat. Let's not overwork them or overload them, in this heat. So we'll take tomorrow morning off, and we'll kind of temper it. I think they have part of Saturday and Sunday off too. So stay fresh, and kind of work on the mental side.
Most of their offense returns with Ethan Dolby, the front runner, to get the most carries in the backfield. On the defensive side, they've lost some starters but brought in some talented replacements. Kicker Brian Garrity is back with his big leg.
When you come to Western, you put on the purple. Everyone knows what the goal is, but we got a lot of work to do. We're just trying to not skip any steps along the way, get better every day, and that's what we're focused on right now.
Brent Lale, CTV News.
Julie's on the desk with me now after some active weather across the region last night. Some intense thunderstorms, looking a little calmer now as we head toward the weekend.
Yes, skies clear overnight. We picked up some welcomed rainfall in the area after an extended period of dry conditions and breaking the heat. 27 degrees are high today. 19 degrees are low. As we head through the next few hours, about a 30% chance of a pop-up shower. We did see a few little isolated showers through the day today in and around Turkey Point and Long Point, picking up some light rainfall. Satellite radar showing some very minor showers. Anything that's out there right now will quickly fall apart after sunset. Skies will be clear overnight, and watch for a bit of fog. The cold front that moved through is now pushing through central Quebec, and it will drag the rainfall towards the east coast. Much needed rainfall. They've been sweltering under record-breaking temperatures, and forest fires have caused evacuations. High pressure building in over the Great Lakes Basin, and that will keep us in the clear. We have some nice weather on the way over the next couple of days. We have some thunderstorms moving through Western Canada tonight and some embedded watches and warnings. Still in Eastern Ontario, the heat warning, but that will come to an end likely in the next hour. Thunderstorm watch in effect associated with the cold front that's slowly starting to move eastward, and you can see some thunderstorms as well. Cooler conditions are on the way for us. We're going to see a pattern shift early next week, and we're starting to see some cooler air to the north. So temperature-wise over the Great Lakes, we've been sweltering for days. We will see a warm-up as we head toward the weekend. So each day expecting the temperature to come up just a bit. And by Saturday, it is going to be extremely hot and humid. But next week, things shift, and temperatures are expected to drop off, and we get a cool break. So we'll talk about that in just a second. Overnight, comfortable 13 to 14 degrees, and open up the windows, let that nice air in. 17 degrees near Lake Erie overnight and 17 near Lake Huron. High pressure drifts off to the east. We have sunshine in the forecast to a mix of sun and cloud tomorrow. We'll maintain that northerly flow off the lakes, and that will generate a little bit of cloud cover across the region. As we head into your Friday, Saturday, looking good both days with lots of sunshine. The next front will arrive Saturday night, and that'll be the next opportunity for measurable rainfall. It's been very dry. We need more rain, so we do have the chance for rain Saturday night into Sunday morning. Your Thursday high, 28 degrees, mix of sun and cloud, and feeling like 31 in the afternoon. Our Metal Roof Outlet forecast for Friday, sunshine and 33 on Saturday will feel like 40. Saturday will be one of those days where you want to perhaps get the sprinklers out, go to the beach, or find a nice pool to cool off in. Temperature-wise, it'll be the hottest day over the next 7. Some showers moving in Saturday night with some rain on Sunday, and then look at the cool down coming from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Even those overnight lows, 10 to 11 degrees, so that is quite cool under a mix of sun and cloud. Midwestern Ontario, your forecast tomorrow, mix of sun and cloud and 26, a beauty beach day, sunshine Friday into Saturday, some rain Saturday night and a Sunday, and then the cool down coming next week. Overnight lows, 9 to 10 degrees. That's great for this time of year, 22 to 24. So a break on the way early next week, but we still have some heat to get through as we wind up the week. Carlyle, back to you.
Thanks very much, Julie. Still ahead, a new plan for Westmount Shopping Centre. New mall ownership promising redevelopment with a residential component.
I don't want to freak you out, Leanne, but this is your final week to qualify to head to the CCMAs in Kelowna, BC.
So you just freaked me out, TJ.
Oops, sorry.
Be listening at 7, 9, 11, 1, 3, and 5. Those are your code word times for your chance to win. Good luck.
You're running out of chances.
One of London's most prominent property owners says he has big plans for the largest shopping mall in West London. Brian Bicknell has more on Shmuel Farhi's vision for a revamped Westmount Commons.
But look at this. Bright, beautiful.
Shmuel Farhi takes delight in providing a tour of Westmount Commons, from grocery to office and medical to underground parking.
You build residence, you have the parking available.
Even live reptiles. Already a variety of uses, the prominent London property owner sees something even bigger for this site.
But this is unique because this is going to be live, work, and play.
Farhi says he's acquiring the property through his development company at a cost of just under $40 million from current owner Kingset Capital and partner McCore Management. He says the city previously approved 1,000 units of residential over the former Sears store, which will not go ahead at this time. Rather, he hopes to build a low-rise apartment building on the expansive property surrounding the mall.
We're looking to build standalone building, but I like to start from the outskirts and build it in the center.
Farhi says the site could potentially have multiple apartment buildings. Meantime, Ward Councillor Paul Van Meerbergen says he's pleased to see the 40-plus-year-old mall taken over by a local property owner.
Westmount is in for a real renaissance. I think that's what we're looking at, because it would be a real shame to see this property drift into just a boarded up, abandoned state. This still has a lot of life and energy to give back to the community.
The move appears to follow this building trend we've been seeing more of, sites with a combination of developments, commercial, office, and residential, communities within the community.
The enhancement that we're going to do to build a low-rise, it will help every tenant that here, whether it's a Tim Horton, whether it's a Bulk Barn, whether it's a Lorama, whether it's the little zoo that we have here, it will help to bring the community together.
Farhi says he expects the sale to close as early as next week. Brian Bicknell, CTV News.
The provincial government announced new supports today for businesses struggling amid the Canada-U.S. trade war.
This new program will provide Ontario-based companies in the steel, aluminum, and auto sectors, some of the hardest hit by U.S. tariffs, with up to $1 billion in funding support, and will provide some much-needed relief for Ontario businesses who are facing working capital challenges as a result of tariffs, including payroll, lease, and utility payments. Our government is committing $1 billion in emergency loans to be delivered through the new Protect Ontario financing program. which will serve as a key part of our plan to not only keep workers on the job in sectors impacted by tariffs, but to also help us build a more resilient and self-reliant economy that future generations of Ontarians can count on.
The announcement was part of the province's latest fiscal update. Ontario's first quarter finances show the province's GDP increased by more than half a percentage point in that period, supported by higher exports and household spending. Canadian apparel company Gildan Activewear is buying the American brand Hanes for about $3 billion. The deal will give Gildan access to well-known brands like Hanes and Maidenform. Hanes Brands has struggled in recent years and hasn't reported a profit since 2021. Other Gildan brands include American Apparel and Peds. A warning about distraction thefts when criminals use diversion tactics to steal valuable items in plain sight. As Pat Foran reports, they may target phones or wallets, but often they're going after expensive jewelry.
Did they give you both of these items?
They just give it to me. I'm giving it free, actually.
VJ Vic Rant of Mississauga says it was last month when he was parked outside a grocery store. A woman approached him and said she was celebrating a birthday by handing out free jewelry. She put a gold-colored chain around his neck.
She did like this. And, close the hook.
Moments later, she was gone, and he realized she had removed his gold chain, which was worth thousands of dollars and had sentimental value.
This chain itself is about 60 to 70 years old. I inherited from my father.
What he received was made of cheap plastic that looked like it came from a dollar store.
It happened so fast, actually. I just could not believe myself.
Woman gets back into the vehicle. The lady looks down, realizes the bangles from her wrist have been removed, and she has this essentially junk jewelry left behind.
York Regional Police laid charges in a case where a 78-year-old woman received serious injuries. After her jewelry was taken, there was a brief struggle and she was knocked to the ground. Radu Oracel, 35 years old, is a foreign national. He was charged with robbery, theft with violence, and dangerous operation of a vehicle. Police say many distraction thefts appear to be part of a network of organized criminals in Canada illegally practicing criminal tourism.
They're just here to commit their crimes. Unfortunately, a lot of the ones that we arrest are not Canadian citizens. They have not arrived here lawfully.
Police say as well as parking lots, distraction thefts are also happening at post office boxes. And in Ottawa last week, 90-year-old Terry Thompson had her ring stolen outside a retirement home.
She was gone in about a second.
Vic Rand had planned to hand down his gold chain to his son, something he's no longer able to do.
I really feel very, very bad. Be very careful. Somebody tries to give you something.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
Canada's main stock index finished higher today, helped by strength in consumer cyclicals. The TSX gained 73 points. In New York, the Dow added 464, the Nasdaq up 231. The Canadian dollar gained a modest 0.04 On commodity markets, gold is up more than $9 an ounce. Oil lost 52 cents a barrel. Later on CTV News, a 92-year-old former Air Force pilot getting to dance in the prairie skies one more time. Welcome back. Firefighters are battling two massive grass fires in Ontario's cottage country right now. Authorities have put an outdoor fire ban in place. At this point, no evacuation orders have been issued. One of the fires ignited Monday and has spread to more than 33 hectares, closing some roads. A second fire covers about 27 hectares. The wildfire situation in Newfoundland is so bad, local hospitals are postponing surgeries. As Garrett Berry reports, entire neighborhoods are now on evacuation order.
It's taken everything this province can give to slow the spread of flames here near Paddy's Pond, and still more than 20,000 people are being told they need to be ready to leave their homes at a moment's notice.
Another run from a water bomber before it slips behind the smoke. Each of the province's 4 regular tankers were working here today, but so desperately needed, they're also being shared with another fire in the Conception Bay North area. There's so much demand for air assets across the country that officials in Newfoundland are looking further. They're bringing in privately owned aircraft. A pair of Black Hawk helicopters from Utah, a Sikorsky Fire Raptor, and a handful of other high-capacity helicopters. The bill for the rentals, more than $8 million.
The approach we're taking right now is to get as many assets here as we can. If we overpay and don't need them because the fires are out, I'll take that all day long.
What hasn't helped is a string of fires set overnight in downtown St. John's and some of the city's busiest areas that police believe are all suspicious.
We suspect that one person is responsible for multiple fires in this case. So we are looking for any information.
There's been a lot of speculation across the province over the past number of days about the cause of some of these fires. And today's information from St. John's is the closest that any official source has gone to suggesting there's some ill intent behind some of these incidents. Garrett Barry, CTV News, St. John's.
Monarch butterflies are gearing up for their migration to Mexico in the midst of a population decline in recent decades. However, as Alexandra Hollick reports, there are local efforts trying to keep the species aloft.
Whether you're 8, 9, or 89, the magic of monarch butterflies can be captivating.
I think it's a really cool animal, or insect, I should say.
It's amazing what they do. You don't know what they're going to do.
The orange and black winged creatures are gearing up for their annual migration to Mexico. But for now, they're spending time at a Stratford park.
The butterflies that you see throughout the summer are here to basically enjoy their summer vacation. The monarchs we're seeing now, the eggs that are being laid now, are what we call the super generation. They're going to be slightly bigger.
Barb Hacking has been raising monarchs for over 40 years. She says she does it to educate others about the endangered species and its dwindling population.
2 years ago, the population in Mexico was down again. And this year they're saying, oh, it's doubled. But they have to realize it's doubled from not very many to begin with.
Experts say monarchs thrive in areas full of milkweed, and the best way to keep the population going is by planting milkweed in your own garden. But a new research study from the University of Guelph suggests there are other steps that can be taken on a global level. That includes a collaborative multi-million-dollar approach between Canada, the United States, and Mexico.
The conservation of this species is really a shared effort between the three countries because monarchs move between these three countries over the annual cycle.
The study suggests investing $150 million over 5 years, with majority going toward replenishing milkweed habitats in the U.S. Midwest.
And then in the fifth year, you would actually allocate funds both in southern Ontario and the prairie provinces of Canada, as well as in Mexico, where the butterflies overwinter.
With the hopes that millions of milkweed plants will bring millions more monarch butterflies.
If you plant for them, they will come.
Alexandra Hollick, CTV News, Stratford.
A historic castle in the UK has undergone a multi-million-dollar renovation and is now reopening to the public. Norwich Castle is one of Europe's most significant Norman palaces. It fully reopened today following a $50 million 5-year redevelopment. The fortress has been transformed into an immersive historical experience, allowing the public to explore all 5 floors for the first time ever. There are also interactive displays and audio-visual laser projections telling the story of the castle's 900-year history.
It's a tad cooler in the region over the next couple of days, but heating back up for the weekend. Watch for a bit of fog overnight. Thanks so much, Kelly, for this photo taken at Wildflower Market in Port Stanley. Lots of great day trips in and around the region. Next opportunity for rain comes Saturday night into Sunday.
President Donald Trump held a virtual call with European leaders, including the Ukrainian president today. That conversation setting the stage for Trump's sit-down with Russia's president in Alaska on Friday. Mike Lucatur has more on a pivotal week in the push to end the war in Ukraine.
There has been a notable shift in President Trump's tone this week when talking about Friday's meeting. He's gone from saying Ukraine should be ready for a land swap to now saying Russia better be prepared for some serious talks.
I don't have to say there will be very severe consequences.
President Trump with a stern but vague warning to Vladimir Putin if the Russian president isn't serious about negotiating in Alaska. Now, if that meeting does go well, the American president wants to move quickly towards another summit.
I would like to do it almost immediately, and we'll have a quick second meeting between President Putin and President Zelensky and myself if they'd like to have me there.
European leaders emerged from a video conference with Trump this morning saying all agree. Any change to Ukraine's borders must be decided by Ukrainians. That call was to shape Friday's discussion. While Zelensky won't be at that table, he hopes the central focus is a ceasefire. Putin is bluffing about wanting to end the war, Zelensky told reporters, as well as European leaders and Trump. After a separate meeting of European countries and Canada, the Coalition of the Willing released a statement saying it is ready to implement military plans to support Ukraine in the event of a ceasefire.
We're ready to support this, including through the plans that we've already drawn up to deploy a reassurance force once hostilities have ceased.
When that could be remains an open question. Russian forces have reportedly pushed into territory held by Ukraine in the Donetsk region.
The only thing that is going to put an end to this war is if the U.S. gives a lot more military aid to Ukraine and allies itself with the Europeans and Zelensky.
President Zelensky has been pushing for more economic sanctions on Russia to cripple its war machine, something Trump has been reluctant to consider so far. Mike Lecouteur, CTV News, Ottawa.
A typhoon made landfall today in Taiwan, where authorities closed schools and government offices. A fishing raft was blown onto a road and several stores were damaged. The storm hit the country's east coast shortly after noon local time, moving across the island south at about 35 kilometers an hour. The affected areas are all well south of the capital, as well as Taiwan's main international airport. A trail of destruction in a subdivision near Ottawa after a dump truck driver lost control of their vehicle, smashing into several parked cars. Much of the carnage was captured on a doorbell camera. Sean Varden has more on the aftermath.
It happened mid-morning on a quiet Barhaven street. A dump truck driver lost control, smashing into several cars.
And it was really loud. It was really fast, and we heard the engine rev, so he was flooring it. And it was like, okay, and then we heard the bang, and it was like, okay, that's not right. And when all we saw was like dust and smoke, and I was like, that's our car to the right. It should be here.
At least 5 vehicles were damaged, some a total write-off. No bystanders were hurt, but if this crash was just seconds earlier or later, that might not have been the case. Some people say they were in their cars just moments before the dump truck came crashing down the street.
So we had come outside, I grabbed some stuff from the car, I went inside to take a shower, and then I heard this loud bang. I thought my sister fell. I came outside and the whole place was like a crime scene.
Not a lot is known about how the collisions happened, but first responders now say it happened before 10 a.m. The Ottawa paramedic spokesperson tells CTV News the driver experienced a medical emergency, possibly related to heat. We're told the driver was taken to hospital in stable condition.
Yeah, we're all dressed to leave. And it was just happened all at once, so it was kind of really scary. So I don't know what to do, but it's been a hell of a day. I'm happy that no lives were lost and we are okay.
The Ottawa Police Service says officers were sent to the scene and that the incident remains under investigation. Sean Varden, CTV News.
London's top stories.
We have breaking news tonight out of Ottawa. The latest in the
breaking news alerts.
I'm tracking an area of severe weather. It'll start.
And watch live.
A development now to a story from City Hall we brought you.
Download the CTV News app.
Welcome back. Stargazers in southern Ontario spotted something unusual in the sky last night. The strange bow tie-shaped light has been fueling online theories about what could have caused this phenomenon. An astronomy expert says there's a simple explanation, though, deeming it part of a rocket that launched from Cape Canaveral, Florida last night.
This was the first fully run rocket by ULA to deliver payloads to space, and it was replacing their old Deltas and their old Atlas V. And so when you launch something like this, when you launch a big rocket, especially this one which was going to geosynchronous orbit, 30,000 kilometers away, you need a lot of fuel, and you drop your stages as you go. So as you spent your fuel, you get rid of part of the rocket to make your rocket lighter and easier to push farther into space.
The spacecraft carrying a payload from the United States Air Force. And finally tonight, a retired pilot taking to the skies one more time. The 92-year-old had a chance to soar over the prairies this week in the same plane that started his career decades before. With more on that experience, here's Miriam Valdez-Carletti.
It's been 70 years since Ron DeHolke flew inside a Harvard aircraft. He trained in this type of plane as a pilot in 1956 for the Royal Canadian Air Force.
The training program was leading to the fact that if there was a war, you're going to be able to fly a fighter, and defend your country, so to speak.
Last weekend, DeHolke struck up a conversation with pilot Brock Allison at the Cooking Lake Airport. It just so happened Allison owns the same type of iconic plane DeHolke once flew in.
Brock was nice enough to offer me a ride, so here we are.
Giving the former pilot a chance to fly again was a no-brainer.
People like Ron, are a connection with history. Here's a real live person that used to fly these planes and was training in the Air Force.
Standing beside the yellow plane turned the clock back 7 decades.
I've got that same feeling again today because it's been such a long time since I've been in one. So I feel like I'm starting all over again almost.
With a bit of help, he's back inside the cockpit. How do you feel?
Excited, just nervous, happy.
Ready for takeoff.
He still remembers the power settings that he would use for takeoff, climb, cruise, aerobatics.
Taking a try at the control wheel in the air, DeHolke is transported back to his 20s, grateful for a chance to relive his past.
Brock, I am so thankful I can't even express it.
A smooth ride all around, with only one regret.
I didn't want to do a loop. I should have tried one, but I'm chicken. But man, it was fantastic.
Miriam Valdez-Carletti, CTV News, Edmonton.
That's it for us. Thanks for watching. For your latest local headlines, you can always head to our website. I'm back tonight with your late news at 11. Bye for now.